Perfect. So we've started recording. So even for people who are not present today, we will make sure that they also get these information. So yeah, so I'll first introduce myself. So I'm Harish. I am handling the global engagements outbound programs. So I take care of all the student exchange programs and internship programs, joint degree programs. So how many undergraduates we have today? So you can just use your raise your hand simple. So we would like to understand how many undergraduate and how many PhD students we have so that we can cover everyone's. Okay, so clap hands for PhD and raise hands for undergraduates. So we'll understand that. Great. Okay, so we have great. So we have more than 100 undergraduate students, it looks like. So we also have some amount of PhD students or MS PhD research students. Great. Okay, guys. So I'll cover every bit of the exchange program. So I'll give more importance to all the programs that are available for undergraduate students as well. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, so first of all, I'll like to tell about the office roles and responsibility, the Office of Global Engagement. So our office makes sure that we maintain a lot of important relationship. You know, IIT Madras have more than 250 partners. So our office makes sure we maintain this relationship. We understand the best practices between the institutions. We know which are the good researches that are happening in IIT Madras. So we try to find the complementary research in our partner universities, and we'll see how we can benefit from these collaborations. So our office handles all these international collaboration. And then the second main important role of our office is to help the students get an opportunity to travel abroad. So the student exchange program. So I handle the program completely. And then our office also helps with the faculty exchanges and research collaborative workshops. You all know that there are many workshops that happen. So we have many strong groups. So there are some groups in which we're really strong at. So we do many kind of collaborative workshop with the partner institution to enhance these kind of collaboration. And we also have a lot of funding opportunities like Erasmus Plus, DAD, Charper kind of programs. So we also talk to these kind of networks or consortiums, and also sometimes with embassies to understand what are the various scholarship opportunities that are available for our students that they can leverage. So these are this is not the complete list, but mostly I would like to cover important tasks that our office covers. So next slide, please. Okay, so I'd like to very quickly tell about how our collaboration philosophy works. So if you see, mostly everything starts with MOU, because I get a lot of mails from students telling I am interested in going to these universities, but that is not part of our MOU list. So can we have a MOU with that university? So these are some of the questions that we get very frequently from you guys. So I thought first I'll address that as an issue. So the main thing is MOU is not signed for one student's exchange or just because someone want to go for exchange. MOU happens with a lot of collaborative efforts that goes between two universities. So IIT Madras have been working with lots and lots of universities abroad, but we do not have MOU with everyone. We first see if there is a potential collaboration that is going to happen, and if this MOU is signed, if there is going to be something that is good happening for our institution and for our students. So once we know that, that is when we actually start with the MOU. So every MOU starts with a faculty interaction. So a faculty member from IIT Madras will be first one who will approach us and tell that we have a good relationship with this university, so I would like to have an MOU with them. So when a faculty member tells that, we'll also see if there is any other faculty member from IIT Madras who also works with them, have kind of collaboration with them. So when we know this, then we start with the MOU. So once we have a MOU, then it starts with exchanges. So this is another famous question that I get. So we have more than 250 MOUs in the website, but a very limited number of exchange programs are advertised. So it's because not everyone where we have MOU, we have active exchange programs. So first of all, the next level is with MS Scholar or Research Scholars Exchange, where a lot of these kind of collaborative happens, a joint supervision programs or a joint PhD kind of program gets evolved. and then the top of pyramid which goes to the degrees. So there are about 18 universities where we give joint degrees for a MS or a PhD kind of programs. So this is how our research collaboration works. Can I go to the next slide, please? Okay, I like to give you some facts and figures about the numbers, because I think most of you being engineers would love numbers and would like to see success with like how much we have done. So I would just like to show this number. So we have, as I told, more than 240 MOUs, and we have about 46 plus countries with which we are collaborating. And interestingly, about the top 100 universities in the world, more than 30 plus universities we have an MOU, and more than another 30 plus universities we have collaborations also. We might not have MOU, but we have active collaborations happening. So like we have about 60 plus universities in the top 100 with which IIT Madras is working. And I told you that we have 18 plus JDP programs, and we have 50 plus joint supervision programs. This is exclusively for PhD students. And then we have got more than 64 students who have been already been part of this joint PhDs programs. So next slide, please. Okay, so this is again the broad MOU list. So we have MOUs across every important places, but we just thought we'll highlight some countries which we have more collaboration. Of course, USA is part of it, and Germany, you all know IIT starts with German assistance. So that's where we have the most number of collaborations with Germany. And France, Australia, Japan, like all the major countries, we have good collaborations. The next slide, please. Okay, so this is exclusively for the joint degree program for the PhD students who are present in this call. We have about 18 joint degree programs, and for the master students who are present in the call, we have one. No, there is going to be one or two more also, which is in the pipeline, which will be soon advertised. So these are the list of all the joint degree programs and joint master's program we have. So with joint degree program, which means you get degree from 2 universities. So you get IIT Madras and one of these universities. So anyone, is there a master students or MS students who would like to convert your program to a PhD in IIT Madras, you can also opt for one of these programs where you can just travel and be in IIT Madras and travel to that university for a certain period and get degrees from 2 universities. So next slide, please. Okay, so now I'll come to the main agenda of today's discussion, which is all about the exchanges. So I'll of course talk to you about the internships as well as the summer schools or the winter schools opportunities also. But I'll start with the exchange programs, where because many of you have shown interest in this. So, okay, first of all, exchanges. So as I told, I have already recently sent a list. I think most of you would have received it. I sent a list of all the possible universities that are available for this coming semester. So, you know, for the past 1.5 years, not all the mobility program were very active. Most of the mobility program were put on hold because of the uncertainty that was caused due to COVID. So now slowly things are reviving, and a lot of our partners have shown interest and enthusiasm in getting our students back to their universities and campuses. So, but again, nothing is confirmed, because we never knew what is going to happen, if there is going to be a third wave or if there is going to be something else happening with the COVID. So this is not very sure that this is going to happen, but as far as now, it looks very happening. Like it looks like, so if the situation is going to continue like this, then the exchanges will happen for sure. But if there is going to be some worst case scenario, then they might cancel. But that doesn't stops you from applying, because I would suggest you that if you're interested, I'll suggest you to go ahead and apply for it. So once you apply for it, you will anyways be able to get selected and get a visa and keep things ready. If the exchanges are happening, you can always travel and go there. But in case, because of worst case scenario, if things are not happening, you can always cancel that and study in our campus itself. So that is one thing that you can always do. So, okay, so I'll now walk through the process of exchange program. So to start with, we have all the MOUs that we have, which is listed, and the possible opportunities of all the exchanges is also listed in our website. And I have also sent the mail about these opportunities to you people. Then once a student identifies with the university that the student is interested in, you can always reach out to your faculty advisor or the faculty member who you take these courses with, and take a set of courses that you want to do. So it is very highly recommended that you cover most of your core courses as well as some of the electives there, because if you have a lot of core courses in that semester and if you try to skip those, then it might become again a burden for you when you come back. But if there are students who have already completed all the core courses, you're very free to take any electives. But if you have at least say 2-3 core courses, I would suggest to take at least 1-2 in the university, even if you want to drop 1 or 2, it doesn't match. So this is about mapping. So once you map your courses, you will need to go get the permission from your faculty advisor and head of the department telling that, yes, I would like to go for this exchange, and this is the university that I'm going to go, and these are the courses that I would like to take, and get their approval and then submit it back to me. Once you submit it back to me, we will nominate you to the respective university. So every university have a fixed number of quota of how many students they take from IIT Madras. It might vary anywhere from 2 to 5 or 6 students. So if there are, like, say, if there are 2 or 3 seats available, only if 2-3 students apply, then it's direct. But if there are, like, say, 3 seats, and if there are 6-7 students who have applied, then we take select them based on CGPA or any other criteria that the university recommends, and then we let you know the final selection results. So once we give let you know, then you can approach the Dean Academics and get the necessary NOCs, or letting them know that you're traveling abroad, and you can start traveling. So this is a process that we follow. So the documents that is required is something that I've already sent a mail on. So, and now that so every year we ask the students to get the signed letter of approval from the faculty advisor and head of the department. Given that COVID scenario and most of you are still studying from home, I would suggest you to just fill the letter of approval form that is sent in mails, and just get the approval over email itself. You need not ask them to digitally sign it or something if sometimes they find it really hard. Even if you send this letter and if they just mail it telling approved, that is also more than enough for me to consider you for these programs. So this is about all the exchange programs. So can you go to the next slide, please? So then again, so there are a lot of summer and internship opportunities are also available. So again, like, still now we haven't received many opportunities, because every year we used to have certain number of programs like Pure program or ANU program, NTU future our program, kind of like there are a lot of programs that are usually run, so STSA or NUT. So many programs are usually happens during the summer or winter break. But last 2 years, most of these programs got either cancelled or postponed, or they changed it virtually because of these travel restrictions. So even for this November-December semester, there is no many official internship program that I've got. So I would suggest you to still wait for it. If something comes, I will may email all of you. But other than that, I would suggest you to wait until the summer. So all the summer program will still be available for you guys, hopefully. So, and other than that, if you are interested in doing internship in any university, say it might not be a structured program, but if you're still interested in doing these internships, I would suggest you to find a faculty advisor or a mentor who you want to work with in the partner universities, and talk to your advisor in IIT Madras. And then if you can reach out to me, I can help you the process of getting you admitted into that universities. But other than that, all the structured program which we advertise, there'll be the process very clearly explained in the email. So I would like to let you know that you can go through that same process and finish the applications. So yeah, so now can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so for a MS PhD student, there is a slight change in the process. So rather than, so you all have to make sure that you consult your guide here, because most of you won't go for doing courses, but you go for doing research work. So, but for undergraduate students or a dual degree student who go taking courses there, it is very simple for you to go for exchanges, because all that you need to do is just map the courses, because you're going to sit in the class and take the courses. But for a research student, you have to find a professor who's ready to host you also, because you're going to do research and you need to always find a faculty member who will be interested in guiding you there, because you can't just go there and tell I'll do something on my own. So that way, for you, I would suggest you all to talk to your guide or faculty in IIT Madras, ask them if they have any existing collaborations, and understand which university they have good collaboration, and talk to that professor also. And if they are all on same page that you can travel, then if you let me know, I can help you the process of exchange. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I told, so just summarizing the application procedure, it's all about your eligibility. Eligibility is about, we usually tell 8 is a CGPA criteria for going for exchanges, but also if a student is really interested, there are many students who have gone with little lesser CGPA also. But if you want to go to the best universities, then they always expect you to have 8 and above. But if you are okay with going to the other, like the next set of universities, mostly for your cultural experience, or there might be a university where they might not be very highly ranked, but they have a good research in particular domain. So those universities sometimes even accept students with lesser CGP also. So, but for any new like a newbie, or like someone who's in their first year or second year, I would suggest you to always have your CGPA high, so that you might have a lot of opportunities, and you'll be able to get attractive scholarships also when you travel abroad. For other students who have little lesser CGPA, you can always travel, but you might have some restrictions. So then again, the letter of approval, you know that we have already mailed you the letter of approval. You can just see that and fill it. So we, if after this meeting also, we'll be able to send you all these documents in a mail, which along with the recording of this presentations. So you will be able to, in case you missed the earlier mail, you can of course see now. And please keep checking my mail. So all the mails that I'll be sending you will be from outbound@ge.iitm.ac.in. Many interesting opportunities for you, as well as any funding opportunities that I get, I'll be sharing. So please keep check of my mails. And all these opportunities are also listed in our website. After this presentation, I'll open the website and I'll show you that also, so that you can keep checking the regularly. So the final thing is, for all these programs, you should be nominated by our office. So please do not write directly to the partner university. So even if you want to write to a partner and ask some queries, please go through me. Let me know that can I write, and when I tell okay, then you can write to them with me in CC, so that you get replies. Otherwise, you might not get a lot of reply when you write directly to the partner universities. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so this is just the template of a letter of approval which I've anyways mailed. The next slide, please. Okay, so this is just like, because many times when we ask for transcripts, students just take screenshot from their workflow and just send it. So please ensure that you give a right transcript which is valid. And even if sometimes you are not able to get your official transcript and you want to take a screenshot, but it should at least have a authentication or signature from your head of the department or faculty advisor telling that's a valid one. Or if you get it directly from the academic section, that is also okay. Because if you just send a screenshot, we won't know if that's a true one, or anyone can edit anything and just send it. So that will not be considered for sending back to the partner universities. The next one, please. Okay, so this, so some, so as I told, the common documents that are required are the letter of approval and the transcripts. But some of the other universities might also ask for some documents, like they might ask for a language proficiency certificate. Some universities, some might ask for a CV or resume. Some university might ask for a statement of purpose. Some university might ask for a letter of recommendation. So it's all depending upon the universities. So all those things will be detailedly written in the mail. If a university need extra document, we'll of course write. But the basic document that our office need is just the approval letter from your department and your faculty advisor, along with your transcripts. The next one, please. Okay, so this is just for your information. I just thought I'll show you the rough numbers. So if you see all the programs, all the departments, they are equally shared. Like it's so of course you can see some departments where there are many students who have traveled, and you can also see a dual degree students would have traveled more, because they are here for 5 years and they will have more opportunity to travel. They try to finish all their core courses within the first 3 years, and fourth year they will ensure that they will be able to travel. But for a BTech student, sometimes it becomes a little difficult, because first year you'll not be able to travel, and final year you might not be able to travel. Within second and third year, if you have so many labs or core courses, then you might sometimes not be able to travel. But I would suggest you to plan it accordingly. So if you are a BTech student, if you are really interested in going for this kind of an international experience, I would suggest you to plan things well in ahead and try to make sure you finish most of your core courses or most of your labs in advance, and keep one semester open without much labs, so that it will be easy for you to travel. So having said that, I would also like to bring in, you can take any courses, be it core or elective course when you travel, but you'll not be able to do your labs abroad. your labs can be done only in IIT Madras. So I would suggest you to travel during a semester where you do not have lab, or if you have only one lab and if you can talk to your advisors and change it to the next semester, then that is also okay. So yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so thank you. So can you also just open the GE website, like ge.iitm.ac.in? I mean, you can just unshare this and open it. IITM. Yeah, thanks.
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I can't find any institute that can that I can do a course in VLSI or semiconductor.
Okay, we will discuss. We'll come to the questions next. I'll finish this and next we'll just open up for questions. We will discuss in detail on the questions. Okay, thanks
Okay,
for
sir.
the website thing. So can you just go? So this is the GE website. We have recently launched it. I would suggest all of you to look into it and know a lot about our office and the numbers. So can you go down, please? So yeah, little up. So all the opportunities that you would want is all listed here. Can you go to the exchange programs, please? So I would suggest you to please have a frequent look at this link. Every program that are available for you will be advertised here. So even if you miss my mail, if you come to this place, all the details will be shared here. So can you just go a little back, please? So all the internship programs and other fellowship programs are also listed here. For now, we do not have anything very active because of the COVID thing. So we might not have updated a lot of information, but going forward, we will be updating a lot of programs here. So I would suggest you to check this space, and the GE Council team is also really helpful, and the students really work hard to help you all getting good opportunities. So they are also in the process of compiling a lot of interesting opportunities. Once that is done, we will also list those opportunities in these places. And we are also planning to work on a portal where these kind of information can be easily accessible to you. So I think by in some time that will also be ready. But I would suggest until then to use this space to see all the information, the internship and summer schools, exchange programs, and the fellowship. These are the three things that will be useful for you people. So I would suggest you to at least have a check once in a week if you're interested in some interesting program and see if there is something that will help you out. So thank you. So I think I've covered most of the important points. Now I think we can open the floor for questions or discussions.
Hi, Harish, before we people ask your questions on this as whatever's shown on screen. Some of the questions that had come up in chat, I will direct to you now, Mr. Harish. Is that fine with you?
Okay, great. So, but maybe I think you can give instruction on what they should do with this, so that by the time they keep updating here, I think we'll start with the questions which you read.
Yeah, okay. So all the participants who want to submit a question, you can either scan this QR code or go to this website and enter this code there. And you can submit as many questions as you like.
Right. Now I'll ask you some of the questions that I could not answer because I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one is, if we're in the first sem of our MS, are we eligible to apply for exchange programs?
Okay.
Because we just joined and we haven't had any exams, so we don't have a CGPA yet.
Right. So that is a very nice question. Yes, we usually the first year students are not advised to apply for exchanges because you are just into the college and there is no much information for you about the programs, or you might not have entered into your a core degree also. So that way, usually institute also doesn't encourage people who are in their first year to apply for exchange program. But I would suggest you to apply from the third semester. But it's okay if you're in your second semester and if your first semester transcript has not come yet, but you want to go during your third semester, that is possible to apply without a transcript. but you can always give the transcript as soon as you get it. But still, we would not suggest you in the second semester also. We would suggest you to go only, we would suggest you to apply only from the third semester. Usually for MTech students, we still let them play in the second semester because they are here only for 2 years. So like that's the only chance they have is to go in the third semester, because fourth semester will be their projects. So we let them apply. But for a undergraduate student, a BTech or a dual degree student, first and second semester, we do not encourage. We let you apply only from the third semester, because your first semester transcript will be ready by then.
Okay. Another question that has come. I mean, the issue with Menti, I think Swapnali, there's some issue with Menti or something of that sort. I'll ask, there's another question, which is, I'm a 4th year PhD student. Is it possible for me to apply for an exchange program, or do I have to check the eligibility criteria for particular programs involved?
Okay, so for okay, again, as a I'll answer this generally for all MS PhD in general. So for MS and PhD, there is no critical or no criteria as like when you can, when you cannot apply. It all depends on the faculty member or the guide in IIT Madras and the co-guide or a co-supervisor in the partner university where you're going to travel. If they both are aligned with what you're going to do and when you're going to do, and if the institute, the head of the department agrees to it, you can go any semester. That's told, because as I told, for undergraduate, it's all about taking courses where we have a major role to play. But for you, it is all about you going and doing research there. So if there are a faculty in IIT Madras who's ready to let you go, and if a faculty in a partner university is ready to accept you, we don't find any reason in stopping you from going whenever you want.
Right, makes sense. And another question which I couldn't answer is, do you get a stipend from the host university for research exchange program?
Great. So there is no written rule. It is all depending upon the credential of the student and the quality of work that you're going to do there. If you really think that you're having a good proposal and you feel that work cannot be done in IIT Madras, and you see that you doing that work there will also help that university, then I would say that many university will be interested in this.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That sounds
So
right.
sorry for this thing. So I would suggest that please find the right set of work that you want to do, because if there are some work that you can already do in IIT Madras itself, and if you go and say that I want to do this work there, I don't see any help that you will get from the institute or from the partner university. They say, okay, why don't you do it there itself and you can do it. So I would suggest you to come up with innovative ideas and tasks which you think will definitely help both the universities. Then you'll have a very good chance of getting funding from both universities.
Right. And another one is, after this, please guys send it on Menti only, so we can at least answer the most upvoted questions. For example, Menti seems to be working in general, so I mean, refresh the page or something if it's not working for you. This is the last one we're going to address in the chat. We're going to do everything from Menti, at least for now. And this is, if the university I'm interested in does not have an MOU, right? Can I still apply for a research internship as a PhD scholar?
Yes. For a PhD student, yes, you can go for a research program. But the thing, see, I would, okay, actually, I think I'll answer this question in little detail so that most of you will have a clarity on why I say yes for this. Usually, MOU is signed between two universities for two main reasons. One is to do fee waiver, because if you go to a university without MOU, you might not, so you know how much is the fees in UK or Europe or Canada or Australia and all these countries. They charge like heavily, right? Like for 2 years, 3 years program, they charge like 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs kind of fees. So when you go and do a semester, they might also charge you that, like say 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs as a fees. But that fees is completely waived when you go with an MOU. So that's the first main advantage of going with an MOU. And second advantage is credit transfer. Because you take courses there, you get your credits transferred in IIT Madras system. But when you go for an internship program or a research program, you're not taking any courses. So there is no question of you getting a credit transfer. And there is also no question of you paying a fee because you go again for an internship. So I would suggest that you can go to any university with or without MOU if you want to do a research or internship program or a research internship program.
Okay, I think we can move on to the Menti questions now. So I will click on the most upvoted questions and they'll pop up on the screen and you can answer them.
Great. Okay, I'll start answering. Can you read the questions, or because I have something that's hiding the question?
Oh, 1 second. Is it better?
Yeah, great. So most of the universities start their semester late and finish it late. So how will we be great? So yeah, so this is the biggest problem in some German universities, and that is why most of our students are not able to travel to German universities also, because their timeline is totally different. How there is no fix for it until now. We have been also trying to discuss. So earlier, at least we have had cases where students had requested for early exams, or they come back here and they have done virtual exams. But again, that is also something that we found is being very that caused a lot of problem to both the institutions. So we are no longer encouraging that also. So I would suggest that if you have a free semester, or like say next semester is just a project, then you go a previous semester and come little late, then still your faculty member or the department might be okay with it. But say next semester is also a course taking semester, then say university starting in the end of July or the first week of August, but none of the universities will be over till September. So I would not suggest you to apply for any German institutions. As a research scholar or as a MS student, you can always go, because the timeline will change. And even for undergraduate or a dual degree student who might not have a lot of courses in the last semester, or who I mean, and if your faculty member agrees that you can come a little late, then I would suggest you to go for this universities. Okay, what is the budget? Great. Okay, so we are now talking about the entire world here. So there is no particular budget that we can fix, right? So because if you want to go to Australia, it will be different from US, it will be different, Japan, it will be different. But on average, you might calculate at up to around 1 lakh per month. So if you're going for 3 to 4 months, you might spend about 4 lakhs for a semester exchange. And you get about 60,000 from a IAR office, like the Office of Alumni Relations. They give you about 60,000 to cover your travel, like your flight tickets, your visa charges. So these kind of expenses will be covered. So the cost of living for your food and accommodation, you will have to take care of that expenses. So if you some universities might also give a free accommodation or very subsidized accommodation. In that case, you might end up paying less for it. But some universities might not have in-house accommodation, then you might have to take hostels or rooms outside, which will be little expensive. So as I told, an average would be about 1 lakh, but it is very much depend on the places. You might even survey with 50, 60,000 per month. It might also go more than 1 lakh.
On that note, what component of it would be the fees?
Sorry?
Like related to the cost itself, what component of it would be fees? Like if it's with an MOU? Or
No, there is no fees. It's only for your cost of living. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about how much you spend there. There is no fees. The fees is completely free. All the other administrative costs also will be waived. And you might not have to pay hostel fees or any other relevant fees as an IIT Madras in that semester. You will only have to take care of your living cost in the partner universities. That is your food and accommodation.
1 second, the fees will be only regarding the accommodation and the things we spend there, nothing like the tuition fee.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Tuition fee will be completely waived. You will be only paying for your food and accommodation in the partner universities.
So it depends on how we spend.
Exactly. If you're able to economically spend, you can even finish it in a very economical way also. Yeah. Can I explain the exchange situation for the coming future? Because a lot of workshop in person. Okay. Yeah. So this is a very interesting question. Yes, because that most of you were not physically present here, most of your labs wouldn't have happened. So all these will happen in the next semester. So if you're still in your second year or like in the third year, I think you might not have to worry much about it, because you will anyways, even if you go for one semester, you will still have 2-3 more semesters to come and finish those things. But if you are in your like final year or in your fourth year, I would suggest that it might be a problem for you to travel, because like last semester you might want to spend in IIT Madras, do all your missing works. So yeah, I know it's tough, but yeah, that's how it is. Okay. How to know if the host university will provide? So that's all in the website. So every university that is advertised, we have sent something called as a fact sheet. Or if you go and search in their own website, you will find something called as fact sheet. So the fact sheet or the international students guide, this will have all the information about that university, how much is the cost of living there, how much is the ideal other expenses that you will need to spend, will they give you hostel or not, everything will be given in that fact sheet. So it's all about how much time you take in researching these things. It's up to you. And one another thing that you can do is also talk to your seniors who have traveled abroad, or you can also connect with the GE Council team. They might also be able to talk to the students who have traveled in the past, and they will also be able to give you a right information on these things. For research internships that are not structured, do we cold-made professors from foreign universities? What was great. So yeah, for research internship that are not structured, sometimes you mailing will not work. You know, like, see, if you might of course choose a good professor, and you know how many such thousands of mail that professors might receive. So yes, this is one way I would, I agree, but I won't suggest this is the most productive way, because more often than not you won't get the reply. But I would suggest you to talk to your faculty mentor, or your sorry sir, I'm still taking that question, sir. So you can talk to your faculty advisors or your guide, or any other faculty in IIT Madras who you very closely work with, and ask them to suggest some faculty member who can guide you, or who you can go intern with. So in that case, if they suggest, and if with their reference, if you're writing these emails, then you might get a reply even faster. And you can also request your faculty advisor or guide to write a mail on your behalf, asking if they can go, and if you can go and work under them. Then in that case, the reply will be even more faster. So first, I would suggest you to go through your faculty advisor or your guide to get a faster reply. Cold emailing might work, might not work. Okay, so Charpak is not a program, it's a scholarship. So every country has its own scholarship program. For Germany, it's DAAD. For France, it's Charpak. For Canada, it is MyTax. Like Australia has Endeavour scholarship. So like every country, see, even India has something called as a Study in India scholarship, where anyone from abroad can come and do exchanges here, and we fund them. So like that, every country has a small kind of scholarship pattern. So DAAD and Charpak or MyTax being the biggest ones, it's very well known, because they take a lot of students through this program. But other countries might not take that numbers. They might take a very less number of students. So I would suggest you, once you decide going for a exchange to a particular university, please also check what are all the scholarship that are available in particular university, whether the university themselves have a scholarship, or if there is a government level or a funding agency level scholarship that are available, so that you can even apply for them. So if you get or not is a secondary, but I would always suggest you to apply for these kind of scholarships. How to get the transcript? So you have to just go to your workflow and request. So all the documents that you need now are centralized through workflow. You can get your transcript, you can get your no objection certificate, you can get your like anything that you want from the institute is through the workflow. So I'm BTech currently in my 5th semester. I have in upcoming intern next semester. Can I participate in this? Yeah, so it's all depending upon the timeline. So you should choose a university accordingly that will end before your summer intern begins. So you choose, say there have been many interesting cases of students who have done exchanges. say like most of the, like even there was a previous question about Germany, like that every country has their own pattern. Say you like IIT Madras works in such a way that like Jan to May is our semester, and then we have August to November as our next semester. Say you go to a university which works from April to July, then it will be in such a way that so April to July you do semester exchange there, and immediately from August to November you do the next semester in IIT Madras. So that'll be like quick. But before that, from November till April, 4 months you might have gotten a vacation, like November, December, January, February, March, like 5 months vacation you might get because you're going for exchange. You might not come to IIT Madras. So that 5 months you can see how effectively you can use for like your internships or something, or same vice versa in the next semester also. Like you can see if you say if you are going for 2 semesters which are like overlapping, then you might get more free time in the another time. So it's all about how you plan for your semester exchanges. But I would suggest that if you really are interested for a in summer intern through the institute during a particular time, please choose a university where the semester exchange ends well in advance, so that things will be fine. Okay, so credit transfer is very simple. All the university which we have MOU with, we have agreed that the credit transfer will happen. So it is not going to be complicating for you. But I would suggest that talk to your faculty advisor well in advance when you map the courses itself, because sometimes you map a course which are not really something that they want you to do, and then you come and ask for credit transfer, they might not let you do it. They'll be like, no, I told you not to do this course, so I won't help you with the credit transfer. So if you already go with the approved set of courses, then credit transfer is very easy. All that you have to come do is just go talk to the academic section here, the academic courses DR office, and just give the transcript, and they'll help you with the credit transfer. So is it possible to have core courses different? Yes. So it's again, as he told, it's all depending upon the faculty member in IIT Madras who takes that courses and your faculty advisor. If they agree that most of the course content matches, then you can of course take. So see, you cannot decide just with names alone, right? Say you have a course called thermodynamics or power electronics or some of the courses that you want to take. So you might have a course called thermodynamics in that university also, but you should also go see the course content. See, in our thermodynamics, there are like 5 different chapters, and if that university doesn't offer those, then they might not accept you to do it. So just go and check your course content and then decide if the course content it need not match 100%. Even if it matches like say 60-70% very clearly, then also I would I can very honestly tell you that your guides or your faculty advisor might let you do it. So yeah. Can we get a list of all research? Yes, that's what I told you. It will be all available in the website as soon as we get it. Can we choose courses not? So that is all about electives. If your faculty advisor allows, yeah. Okay, this is answered for. So again, if you have 4 or 5 different core courses, I would suggest you to at least map most of it. If you can leave 1 or 2, it's still fine. But I would suggest you to map most of it if you get selected. Yes. You can get send your nomination for as many as universities, but you will be selected for only 1. Yes, possible. But you never know if the next semester is going to be online. See, all these discussion that we are doing is for the January semester. So January to like the spring of 2022. So I'm not really sure if the placement season then will be online or offline. So do take that in consideration before applying. Okay, so I haven't got any information. So even if you see in the mail that I sent, I have not mentioned anything about NTU because we haven't got do this. Yes, so that's as I told, you will only pay fees in IIT Madras. You will not pay fees in the partner university. But even in the IIT Madras, you will only pay the tuition fees, but not your hostel or food fees because you're going to travel. And yeah, see, it's all again depending upon how many universities, how many students the university is accepting, and if you are all amongst those. Say if a university is accepting only 2 people, and if both of you are amongst those top who have applied, of course you can go. So some universities have their some. So all those things are available in the website, as I told. All, if you go through each and every fact sheet, that is when you will know when the semester is getting over. Yes, you can. I mean, see, what are all the opportunities will be listed in the website, and you can of course take part. See, again, it's depending upon the departments. So like one of the student council member also can answer if you have answer for it, because according to me, it is all depending upon every department might have, like, it's depending upon how many labs you have, how many core courses you have. You might, but I have seen students going either in the fourth year because they try to finish all the core courses in the first 3 years and go and do electives in the fourth year, or sometimes I've even seen students who are going in the fourth semester itself. Okay, great question. So nomination deadline is when you have to submit all the documents to me. Application document is when you have to submit all the documents to the university where you're applying for. So it's I don't understand this question. Sorry. Can you segregate the university based? Actually, we do not have such resources to do this. I would suggest you to like see the fact sheet and figure out. Maybe later we might also come up with such processes where if you have more people to do it, or like with the support of GE Council, we will see if we'll take that feedback and we'll discuss and see if we can do something for that. See, it again keeps changing. It's not, see, not every student go to the same institute from same batches. It's very widely spread. Tell us more about the criteria. Okay, so Erasmus Plus is all about some IIT Madras might have collaboration with some universities in the Europe, and all these universities with which we have active collaboration, we sometimes approach them and ask if there is a scholarship that is available. So most of these European universities sometimes write back to us telling that we might work together in Erasmus Plus. So all these universities can only work with very limited universities. So they might not give us that opportunity every time. So once in a while, those universities will be interested in working with us. So if any of these universities which has Erasmus Plus, we will immediately mail you. So this year also, in the mails that I've sent, there are 2-3 universities which have Erasmus Plus, which we have mentioned in the mails that we have sent. If you go check the website link, right, the opportunities abroad, the semester exchange link, in that you will be able to find all these things. Okay, so this is little complicating this way, because see, if the deadline is over, then of course and if you finish application, then I would not suggest you to again apply for the second one, because if you get it, so if you really think you have very good CGPA and you will be able to definitely get the second preferred one, I would suggest you to directly apply for the second. But if you think your credentials are little lower and you do not want to take that chance, I would suggest you to be happy with the first one you applied, because you might not be able to change later. But you can, as I told, you can get apply to us for to nominate yourself. You can send us any number. I have even received like 5-6 universities a student who is interested. But when we nominate, we'll nominate you only for one university, and that is the only university which you can go to. Because this is just to make sure that like say if there are some students who apply for all the things, and say 5 university you apply and all the 5 you get, and you are wasting opportunities of 4 more students, because anyways you will be end up traveling to only one university. So all the other students opportunities also you're making sure that they lose it. So to just ensure that everyone get the opportunity, we are very strict with just one nomination per student. Yes, for dual degree student it is allowed. Again, it is all depending upon your faculty advisor and the guide who you are having the project with. If they agree and they find the synergy between the university that you're going, you can definitely go. I have seen a lot of students going for a final year project, so it's not a problem. So you need not give a university preference list. All that you have to do is just get the approval from your faculty people like faculty advisor as well as from your guides, and send me. When you send me, you can just tell that I would like to go to this, like this is my most preferred university, this is the second, this is the third kind of mail that you can send me, and which is the most preferred, we'll make sure that you get into that. So mostly for PhD scholars, they don't have language requirement. Most of the university actually do not have a language requirement because they know IIT Madras is one of the topmost universities in the country, and they know that our programs are always in English. So they usually do not ask for language certificate, but some universities do ask. Even those some universities do not ask for PhD, but in case if they still ask for it, we do not have, I mean, we'll always write to them and ask if we can. So this student is from IIT Madras, so can you give an exception, is always something that we will try. But if they still like insist that they need, then you will have to provide. This is answered. Yeah. So all these deadlines have been shared in mails. We are not talking about one institution. We are talking about 100 different institutions, and every institution will have its own deadlines. Yes. So all that will be approved by your faculty advisor, right? So when you map your courses, you can just talk with them and know how many credits that you can take. Okay, nice question. So drawbacks, I do not see any drawback in doing a semester exchanges. I've always seen a semester exchange as a nice opportunity that a very small number of students in this country gets. I think you guys are really blessed to get that opportunity. So I would suggest you to make use of it if you feel it is important to you. So every university, as I told, will have a fact sheet that we have sent. All these fact sheet will have something called as course catalog or courses offered kind of section. If you just go into it, all their courses will be displayed and you can choose from one. So see, usually we do not generate such lists where because it's not doesn't mean that okay, from one particular department every student will only go to that particular universities. So we do not have a department versus university list. And also, although we maintain a list of all the students who travel abroad, of course, but we do not share that list because the students have not given any concern that their names and their email IDs or their phone numbers can be shared to people. But we have once you're nominated, we will definitely put you in touch with a student who have gone there previously, so that you can ask them advice about the university. You can ask them advice about the cost of living, where do you live, all those things, but only after you are nominated. Before you are nominated, we are not planning to share any list. So see, it's all about transfer, right? So in case you are supposed to take certain credits here, and if you are able to go take those credits there, you can transfer them. So you need not worry about that credits here. Okay, so after completing MSc in IIT Madras, you will no longer be a student in IIT Madras. So only active students are eligible to go for exchanges. If you are passed out of the institution, then you cannot go. No, it's all about only IIT transcript. If you're a master's student, then you have to only produce IIT Madras first semester transcript. We need not worry about your BTech transcripts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harish, I think at some point of time we can choose to stop recording, because as you've seen, these questions are getting slightly repetitive.
Correct.
But I think one question that a lot of people have asked, I mean, on personal message are like the list of universities which have Erasmus is one of them. And the second one is, like the one displayed on screen, which is related to the scholarships.
Okay, so I'll answer this and maybe we can stop the recording and we can still continue if anyone have questions. So the first main thing is about Erasmus. As I told, it keeps changing. The Erasmus Plus is usually valid for only 2 years. So we might get a Erasmus Plus with some university that will be active for 2 years and then they change. The last 2 years, like after the 2019, we didn't sign any new Erasmus Plus agreement because they were not active. So the ones which we had in the past mostly got expired, but there are 3 universities where we had deferred, like since last 2 years the travel didn't happen, they have deferred it to this semester. All like DTU is one, the Denmark Technical University, so we can maybe mail it, not a problem. So there are 3, like Luxembourg, University of Luxembourg, the Denmark Technical University, and then there is a couple of more universities which we can tell. And KAT in Germany is one university which also gives scholarship, and NTU also gives scholarship for IIT Madras students. But this year NTU has not advertised. They have closed their exchanges, but other universities are still open. So I think I can send that mail of list of Erasmus universities. And with respect to scholarship, I think I even took this question before, that we have things like DADs, CHAPAK, then we have MyTax, Endeavor, like every countries have their own scholarship thing. But all that I would suggest you is, once you decide the university and which country that you're going, you will be always be able to go back and see what are the possible scholarship that are available in that particular thing. Yes, you can. See, again, it's all depending upon you getting permission from your guide. You can apply to any number. As I told, you can apply to any number, but I will be nominating you only for one. So you can just prefer, say you want to apply for 4 universities, you can apply for all the 4 and give me preference. This is number 1, this is number 2, number 3, number 4 in a mail, and I'll make sure you get the number 1 or number 2.
Okay, I think we'll wrap up the recording here, right?